Mangwanani Mwalelepo Vukenjani Kwasvanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Aina Raiza.
Now, in our top stories this morning, in France, an illegal African immigration network has been dismantled. U.S. South Africa in spat over arms to Russia charge. UN calls for urgent food aid for millions in Chad. We also speak to Talen Gore all the way in Zimbabwe, as well as Ari Khoukhad. Please be reminded that you can follow Africa Good Morning on our website, which is called One Up 2, as well as on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 in Namibia. We'll be right back with our top stories.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in.
In our top stories this morning, in France, an illegal African immigration network has been dismantled. They brought illegal immigrants into their territory with real French passports. The border police at Roissy Charles de Gaulle Airport this week dismantled an illegal immigration network from sub-Saharan Africa, AFP learned on Thursday from a police source. The case begins in November 2022 when border guards intercept a passenger from Mali with a real passport, but which turns out not to be his. He tells us that he paid 7,000 euros to do a Bacamo Paris with an authentic French document, said the police source. The police officer of the PAF then discovered the existence of a network that provided foreign nationals with French identity documents, allowing them to enter the national territory through a front door, with control reduced to strict minimum when passing through the border.
Now, the U.S. envoy to South Africa on Thursday accused the country of having covertly provided arms to Russia, a charge that drew angry rebuke from Pretoria. Ambassador Ruben Brigetti told a media briefing the U.S. believed weapons and ammunition had been laden onto a Russian freighter that docked at a Cape Town naval base in December. We are confident that weapons were loaded onto that vessel, and I would bet my life on the accuracy of that assertion, Brigetti said, according to a video of the remarks. Now, the remarks undermine the spirit of cooperation and partnership between the two nations, Ramaphosa spokesman Vincent Magwenya said in a statement. While no evidence has been provided to date to support these allegations, the government has undertaken to institute an independent inquiry to be led by a retired judge. Now, in Washington, the State Department took a noticeably milder tone than the outspoken ambassador and welcomed the promise of a probe. We continue to be committed to our affirmative agenda with our South African partners, State Department spokesman Vedant Patel told reporters, pointing to cooperation on public health, climate and trade.
The UN calls for urgent food aid for millions in Chad. The United Nations World Food Programme is appealing for urgent funds to provide rapid food assistance to more than 2 million people in Chad. WFP County Director in Chad, Pierre Honorat, said he expected to provide for 30,000 refugees who had crossed to Chad to flee the recent fighting in Sudan. The WFP warned that food for refugees and internally displaced people in Chad would come to a halt this month due to financial difficulties. In a separate warning, the WFP said hunger is set to hit a record high in Sudan, with an additional 2.5 million people affected by ongoing bloodshed.
Now, the Mozambican Nurses Association on Friday sent a letter to Prime Minister Adriano Maliane threatening to go on strike. According to the letter published on International Nurses Day, the association is requesting intervention by the Prime Minister to overcome the impasses between the nurses and the Mozambican Health Ministry. The concerns in question are related to improvements in working conditions and other rights, because within the difficult situations that the country is going through, nurses are seen as professionals in the front line. But when it comes to rights, they are placed at the back, reads the letter, taking as an example the period of the COVID-19 pandemic.
In our next story, UK in deal with Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia to fight terrorism. The UK has signed an agreement with Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia aimed at tackling the cause of instability in the region. Speaking to BBC, UK Security Minister Tom Tugendhat said the agreement is worth some 12.5 million and it will support the three countries to come up with policies in their fight against terrorism. This is the first time high-level officials from Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia have accepted international support to address a common problem along their borders. These borderlands are usually isolated and insecure, which makes it difficult for the countries to monitor threats. Now, Master Tom believes that the Al-Shabaab militants conduct terror activities in this area because there is no governing authority.
All right, that brings us to the end of our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Now, the Zimbabwean president has been busy from announcing the election month to granting amnesty to non-violent prisoners. We'll be getting into those and other stories after the break as we chat to Talent Gore.
To another exciting episode of Top.
Jullie is weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle mondlik gaan byt.
We seem to be having issues connecting with Talent Gore, but just to highlight what should have been talking about, President Emmerson Mnangagwa in Zimbabwe has announced the election month. Tourists are no longer required to produce COVID-19 vaccination certificates at ports of entry, and President Mnangagwa also granted non-violent prisoners amnesty. We certainly hope to talk to her. However, we shall swing over to mental health awareness. Now, there was a seminar which was held in efforts to contribute to the fight against mental health related illnesses amongst the youth, and the Swakopmund Junior Town Council hosted this mental health awareness seminar. Have a look.
Good morning, everybody. What do I think mental health is? Like you said before, I think mental health is how you're doing emotionally, psychologically, socially, whether you're okay or not. That is mental health. Thank you. So we understood that. Can we get a different view? How about you, Liam? What do you understand by the term mental health?
Thank you for the question. I often think of mental health as a battery. We all know those water batteries or Duracell batteries that we put in our remote control cars. So I think of it as a battery because often when we buy batteries, they are fully charged, and our motor car can drive around very fast everywhere we want to take it to. However, the more we use the car, the battery's energy decreases every time we try and work with it. So I think of mental health as in that way. We start off as a strong battery, and then eventually our energy decreases day by day the longer we strain ourselves to things that often challenge us mentally.
We now know what mental health is, but there is a lot of word and confusion about mental health. So what is the stigma that is around mental health? Barry, please give us a little bit of insight on what the stigma is around mental health.
Thank you, Dua.
I believe that fairly negative stigma surrounds or is associated with mental health illnesses, especially with clinical disorders such as schizophrenia or depression. You know, people are defined by their illness. You say that, no, this person is psychotic, instead of saying that they are suffering a psychosis. So the society will usually shun them in a bad light as per se, and stigma and discrimination can often lead to that person not wanting to seek help or receiving help, resulting in it worsening day by day. So it's difficult to really understand that when I am not feeling okay, that it's normal. It's not that I'm crazy or that I'm just acting up, as the parents say, but it's actually a real thing. Shanita has something to add for us.
Just to add on what Councillor Berry said, sometimes I'm not going through something, and instead of acknowledging the fact that I'm unwell, I'm being called incompetent, crazy, or dangerous. But maybe I'm just going through something, and I feel like that's a stigma that we see a lot in this day and age.
Thank you. Panoa also has something to add.
I think when we talk about stigma, the reason society stigmatizes mental health is because of a lack of knowledge. Society does not know what mental health is. So when we see someone is going through a mental crisis, we tend to put a label on that person, that this person is crazy, this person is either cursed or something. So we tend to label people with mental health, and those are one of the stigmas that we need to get rid of, because mental health is an illness. It's not that someone is crazy, it's an illness that needs to be dealt with.
It is true that in today's generation, youth are most likely to experience these mental health illnesses, but we don't really know what these illnesses are. Sometimes we're going through something and we don't even know how to identify what we're feeling. So it's hard for us to really understand how we can help ourselves. So, Shakira, what do you think are these mental health illnesses that we experience as youth?
Wow. There are definitely so much, and usually it's not even the things that are obvious that are the issues, it's the underlying things. Like most of the time, people have, or especially in kids, where they have ADHD or autism or severe anxiety issues or something like that, and it goes undiagnosed, of course, and then this child walks around thinking that there's something wrong with him. There's something seriously wrong with me, because everyone is living how they're supposed to live, I guess, and then you're just stuck here and you're wondering what's going on. I feel like that is the main cause of why children, especially young people, have mental health issues.
Truly an important conversation there, and now we're about to have another one with Talent Gore, but we hope it's one-sided. Talent, if you could, as concisely, as briefly as possible, get into all three of your stories back to back, we will not interrupt you.
Okay. So President Emerson Mnangagwa has declared August is the election month. He said this while addressing party members in Modi. He said that August will be the election month, and he did not say the actual date. And also Zimbabwe has now all COVID-19 measures. The government is saying that every tourist and anyone visiting Zimbabwe will not be required to produce a COVID-19 vaccination card. And the last one, President Emerson Mnangagwa has granted amnesty to non-violent prisoners. He said that everyone who is in prison who committed an offense which does not include violence will be released from prison.
Us the news from Zimbabwe.
Thank you for having me.
Happy Monday. Now let's take a look at the weather for today. In our economic news this morning, rand crashes after U.S. accused SA of arming Russia. Now, the South African rand crashed on Thursday, minutes after the U.S. ambassador accused the country of providing weapons and ammunition to Russia. The currency lost more than 30 cents of its value against the dollar. According to local media, this was the rand's weakest since the record low set in 2020. Now, U.S. Ambassador to South African Ruben Brigidi said the weapons and ammunition were loaded onto a Russian ship that docked at the Simonestown naval base in Cape Town in December last year.
And I believe at some point last week, 500 euro could get you 10,000 rand. Swinging over to Uganda, Uganda signed a production sharing agreement with a unit of Australia firm DGR Global on Friday for exploration of oil in its west. Now, DGR Energy Turako Uganda Limited will explore in the Turako block, a swathe of 637 square kilometers in the Albertine Rift Basin that straddles the African nation's border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, Turako was one of 5 blocks put up for auction in Uganda's second licensing round, launched in 2019. This license marks a significant milestone for the competitive second licensing round, Energy Minister Ruth Nankambirwa said in the capital, Kampala. Implementation of the round had been delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic as travel curbs affected the bidding and negotiation stages, she added. All right, let's have a look at economic indicators before Ari joins us for the sport.
Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutch stays on list A in his speech, rate and taxes, and how much.
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
economic indicators, tomorrow's weather, and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweo.
They say the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And today I was reminded of a certain synchronicity that happened in my life. You see, 20 years ago was the last time Arsenal won the English Premier League. 20 years ago was when LeBron James entered the NBA. This weekend, Arsenal lost, but LeBron won. Such is the balance. Ari, give us the sports.
Yes, morning, Ashwin. Not all doom and gloom. There's still a chance, but a slight chance, so you never know. But yes, what happened over the weekend, it was Manchester United that reaffirmed their position on top of the standings. They are leading the English Premier League. That was after beating Everton convincingly by 3-0. And it was Arsenal that dropped points, unfortunately, for them. And that's what you mentioned. They lost to Brighton, and the score there was 3-0. That means Manchester City, Manchester City reaffirmed their top position. Manchester City 85 points after 35 games. Arsenal 81 points after 36 games. So it looks like Manchester City comfortably in a position to win or to defend their league again. Top 4, Newcastle remained there as well. They had a draw with Leeds, but Manchester United also reaffirming their top 4 position, beating Wolves by 2-0. Liverpool only play tonight. They can still catch the 3rd and 4th position on that lock for Champions League positions. Going on to rugby news, the good news for South Africa or South African rugby is that the Stormers will host the final of the United Rugby Championship in Cape Town. That is in 2 weeks' time. On the 27th, they beat Connacht there in action. A good result for them in Cape Town. A windy and cold Cape Town. It was Irish weather, but the Cape Townians won by 43 points to 25. Booking a final again, defending their title, trying to defend their title they won last year. Big favour for them, Munster beat Leinster. That was a game played in Ireland, and Munster beat Leinster by 16 points to 15. That's action from that game. That means that Munster must travel to Cape Town. So a big favour there for the Cape Townians. That final, the 27th of this month. On to MotoGP, lots of action, always lots of action on the MotoGP. It was the French MotoGP, and it was Marco Bezzecchi of Italy on his Ducati winning. Second was Jorge Martin, also Ducati, and third, Johan Zarco, also Ducati. Those are the three winners there. The man in the middle there, he got closer now to Francesco Bagnaia in the first position. They're very close now. Bagnaia, 94 points. Marco Bezzecchi there in the middle, he's got 93 points. And then a good result also for Brad Binder, 6th in the French Grand Prix. He's now still third overall.
We seem to have lost Ari Hogarth over there as he was giving us the sports news, and I believe it was still comprehensive enough, and he'll certainly be back in the week to give us more sports updates. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with the highlights from this morning's broadcast.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Thank you for watching Africa. Good morning. Let's get into the highlights. An illegal African immigration network dismantled in France. US-South Africa in spat over arms to Russia charge. Rand crashes after US accused SA of arming Russia.
Those have been our stories. We thank you very much for watching our Africa Good Morning Monday edition. Please be reminded that we welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can post them on our Facebook and Twitter pages. This particular show screens on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 25. On that note, it's all our love, all our light. Happy Monday.
Seraj Lakanaka.